Hello, Bill Johnson. How are you?
Hi, I'm good, thanks. Good to be here. Good to be here with you, Ron, and everybody who's listening. Hello, everyone.
Thank you very much. And we've had a lot of fans write in questions, and we're going to go through them. But first of all, congratulations on 30 years of being Leatherface. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 is coming up on 30 years old. Can you believe it?
Well, Ron, to tell you, I am stunned to think it's been 30 years in so short a time and I'm still alive. And even more happily, that Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2 is still a fan favorite.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's all about the quality that goes in is the quality that comes out. And like anything, this is the gift that keeps on giving.
Would you say that this role has changed your life more than any other that you've ever had? As far as, yeah. So tonight we're going to get in. We're going to talk a little bit about Toby Hooper, who directed. We're going to talk a little bit about behind the scenes. We're going to talk a little bit about conventions and fans, because I think that's really the gift that just keeps on giving. I saw it firsthand when I saw you, hundreds of fans coming up to you in October at Rock and Shock in Worcester, Massachusetts. But before we get into any of this, if you could, just maybe for a minute, just talk about your relationship with Gunnar Hansen, because he was the original Leatherface, and we lost him in November, which is right after I met you, by the way. It was like 3 weeks after you and I met that we got the news that Gunnar had passed. So just, if you could take a minute and just talk about your relationship with Gunnar over the years.
Yay. Well, yeah, my actual time spent with Gunnar, total, I don't know, is maybe a day's worth. After all the years I've known him, I just only saw him in a show, and sometimes when he'd come to Austin, yeah, he'd be visiting friends and he'd call and we'd go have a cup of coffee over at Kirby Lane and chat and stuff. So he was really busy. He was on one kind of junket or another, writing a book and doing research or doing something about a script he had written, and perhaps it's getting ready to be looked at, or perhaps even this production getting ready to be mounted, etc. It's pretty cool, He's a busy fellow. Let me see. And go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, from what I understand, he's written a lot of books, and he was also an avid sailor.
I guess,
or marine type guy, was really into boats.
I think he dug sailboats, and I really didn't know, I would say, Gunnar in depth. And someone who had spent every day with him for a number of years could say they have a sense of Gunnar in depth, like a schoolmate or something. I mean, times we spent together were during conventions and sort of a semi-business thing. We were visiting his friends. That was, it is pretty much the same. It was kind of like a mission. He was on a mission.
Bill, have you read his book, Chainsaw Confidential, that he wrote about the making of the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
I started it. It's very intriguing style. I like it.
Yeah, I've read it more times than I would care to admit, because then that would make me a fanboy, but I've read it a lot. And he did a really good job. Well, yeah, me. But he did a really good job of talking about how the movie was made, And that kind of comes into my first set of questions for you around working with Tobe Hooper. And one of the things Gunnar had talked about in the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre was that there was this constant rewriting of the script while filming, that Tobe wanted to shoot the same scenes over and over and over. Can you talk a little bit about your experience on the set of Texas Chainsaw 2 and your relationship with Tobe and his relationship with the actors?
It'll be limited to, the time that I was able to kind of interact with Tobe, which was essentially just on the set, and then in the audition once. And those times count for a lot.
Yeah.
Some directors are very talky, some are not so talky. Some can communicate very well verbally, some communicate in other ways. And when an actor and the director can mesh their methodology together, it's really a nice event, Something, because Tobe doesn't talk much, typically, But
yep.
The repetition thing was, I was with Caroline doing and we were going to do this for this callback for Tobe. And so he got all positioned and comfortable, and as he does when he's directing action, and I wasn't involved in what she was doing. She was doing like a close-up with a line or two. And so it was a kind of what you would call an important piece of imagery, be able to deliver well and to deliver, often and on cue. So every time Caroline did that, she finished, she said, "Do you want to see it again?" And Tobe went, "Yes." And she kept doing that. And it was like, I don't know, after 12, I went, wow. Okay, let's rock with this. So, and he did that with in the record vault where LG, played by Lou Perryman, was getting his head hammered by chopped up by my girl Bill Mosley, and it happened a lot of takes. Bill asked him, "So, am I doing something wrong?" Tobe said, no, I'm just having a really good time. Keep going."
Great. That's right.
Tom Savini pumping him away with his, his blood buckets. So, yeah, I think, Ron, I think, there's just something about the unspoken, and sometimes unnoticed, but unaccountably, but without doubt, there, stuff like what they call intangibles in sports. And they're always around the ball. It's just amazing how that happens. And he always seems to be kind of lucky. Whatever he does, some kind of little lucky thing happens. These are people who live in a different kind of zone. And in the arts, like the orchestral conductor, or the conductor of any kind of group or band, has this kind of a juju, kind of the state of being of the whole process at one time, and holding all its pieces together at the same time,
Yeah.
So, and they can do that in a way that is at full volume. I mean, they don't do it at full volume all the time, but they can do full volume as it's supposed to be. So the intensity is, and oftentimes people who can do that have intensity that is far beyond those others. Anybody who's met Toby will see intense dude there. Yeah, intense. And Richard Corus, who was the cinematographer for TCM2, said that Tony made a very personal film, and that I think the way Tony was creating was in a personal way, and it was in the moment, the constant rewriting, the revisions, where the relied upon vision was now becoming more crystalline in its clarity. And so it would be revised and refocused and remolded into some kind of essence. Because Tony does essence really, really well. I think it's certainly an artistic aspect, but not everybody really gets it. I just think of all the other directors that are taking a swing at the Chainsaw Massacre franchise storyline. Nobody can hit it out of the park quite like old Tobe. And it's his magnum opus, I think. He's done a lot of cool stuff. He's done some pretty cool movies. And but these two were so different. First one and second one very different. Same storyline, and it kind of made sense, both of them. So
yeah, I mean, the Chainsaw 2 was so different. I mean, there were aspects that linked them together, but there was a lot of difference in, like, he took a lot of risk, I think, but it worked.
Like when a conductor comes to an orchestra, they carry the entire score with them in their body. The timings, the rhythms, the ability to shift from one particular, et cetera, to another in the course of the unfolding of this giant, group excursion.
Yeah, they emote it. It's part of who they are.
Yes, indeed. So Toby was always there, to get the kind of, because there was some kind of, he never talked much to me at all, except during the ice tub scene with Caroline.
So how did he, and I want to get back to that, the ice tub scene, but how did he prepare you for the role before you started, and what kind of direction did he give you as far as how to portray Leatherface? Did he want you to be Gunnar Hansen, or did he just say, I mean, how did he approach that with you as far as how you were supposed, your motivation and your character and how you were supposed to act?
So little I can hardly recall. I mean, I think I would have recalled what it was. He somehow tested me for, did I have it? What he wanted.
What was the audition like?
I had three. I had a call back for local casting director Pat Orseth, and then the second one was with her and writer Ellen Kit Carson, and the third one was those two plus Toby. First one was, they showed me the sides and what the action was. Leatherface, no dialogue, no grunts, nothing. No kind of noise at all from him. And
was that intimidating, or did you just roll with it?
Well, I was prepared for pretty much anything. Fortunately, I had not of, harness. It's important to keep primed because performing certainly is like sports. It's a physical discipline as well. It's a psychophysical discipline. And the physical drops off quickly if one does not stay in daily conditioning maintenance and whatever needs to be done to keep to whatever the plan is. And there is some kind of plan. Well, just hope for the best. There's some kind of plan there. And then you just move with that and move forward into the future toward your goal with it.
So what was go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
That was sort of a Dennis Hopper response there. Go ahead.
Totally unplanned. I watched the movie commentary from Texas Chainsaw 2 quite a bit, both from the actors and from the director, and they talked about how phenomenal the sets were. Can you talk a little bit about what it was like to be on those sets and what your perception of them were?
The sets were fantastic.
Had you seen anything like that before? What was that like?
The closest thing was old-timey fun houses. The cheesy kind of caricature faces and figures you see, and the bizarre kind of structure and architecture and how it kind of haphazardly slapped together. Excuse me. And but this stuff was prop master Mike Sullivan living here in Austin, and I think also the guy who was the art director for the whole movie also lives here, Kerry White. And they engaged like all the art students from the UT art department and, paid them a stipend honorarium, which, I think was a $5 million budget for this film. And in '86, that was a pretty good chunk of money. And $5,
especially compared to the first one. Yeah.
Really. And, if you got $5, you could buy a really, in '86, could you buy a decent bag of groceries for $5? No. 70s you could. At any rate, so these kids were, I don't know, they're getting a minor stipend, but they get to apply their art. So the inside, all of that bone art, those dioramas, those sculptures, all done by, different groups of art students coming in and just giving this material. I got to say that Kerry and Mike Sullivan did a great job getting that done, all that painting. And the inside, the underground family layer that seemed to go on like a tunnel into infinity of horror was a long building like a warehouse. That used to be the printing press room for the local newspaper in Austin. So the room was sort of like a giant warehouse shell. It was very tall, about 30 feet or so, 30, 40 feet. And, but it was all shell, didn't have much in the way of insulation, just superstructure. And this place had been cleared out. All the machinery was gone. So on the ground floor, that was, they trucked in just giant, they created a giant dike or a dam or a berm, a pyramid, a long pyramid, dirt dike with a flat top that was wide enough, like, like a 2-lane road. It was fairly wide.
Yeah.
And put together, and so it was up off the floor, and it looked like dirt underground, because it sure was in terms of the floor.
Now, had you done a few films before this, or was this one of your first? And I'm just curious because of the as we're talking about the sets, like had you seen anything like this or been a part of anything like this before on the sets?
Theater was the only thing, excuse me, that could afford the sets that look like that. It's very theatrical in that way, in terms of, what they call legitimate theater.
Mm-hmm.
I've done some film, but they were, Chainsaw was my first major role in what you would call a Hollywood movie.
Right.
It originated in Hollywood, and it was not just a Hollywood movie. It was the sequel to a much awaited and much wanted sequel, in which Toby swore he would never do, but he was, as part of the deal he made. According to Kit Carson, who told me this, that doing this TCM2 as part of a 3-movie deal with Canon Films. And it was, and part of the tension on the set was that the finished product had to be exhibited by X date, which was coming up very quickly. That's why Canon was putting such pressure, non-stop pressure, on speeding up the production. Toby just held his ground and shot it according to what seemed right to him in terms of the right speed and the right conditions.
Yeah.
And I think he proved himself right. Also, I don't think that it happened without the aid of the pressure. He went 20 weeks over earlier. I think it's a matter of public record. I don't think it's a big secret.
Right.
So we went 20 weeks over Invaders from Mars, and that's very expensive. But not only is it expensive, it's even more expensive if it has to be on the screen in 19 weeks. You're a week late. So there were giant penalties going to happen if the finished product TCM2 was not on the screen, existing all over.
And put so much pressure on post-production. Because they're on the schedule too. So now, if he takes an extra week, that's a week less that post-production and marketing can do.
Toby was editing on the set. Between takes, he was in the editing room putting the movie together. I think someone had asked when are we going to see the director's cut? And nobody said, well, you've seen it. This is my cut.
He did it. Yeah,
my cut. And he was really very ferocious with his editing. He left no padding in there. There was no fluff. But I don't think it's very, very leanly structured film. It doesn't last that long compared to other movies. In terms of the clock time, it goes by very quickly, and it spins back into itself for another round very smoothly and without hardly a hitch whatsoever.
I think that's a sign of a good director, where you build these massive sets, and some directors feel the need to spend, we've got to film a lot on this set because we put a lot of money and time into building it, where if the set isn't really part of the story, that's not what's moving it forward. So the fact that Toby is spending less time, or not feeling the need, rather, to continue along with the super long shots and just adding extra material in so they can use those expensive sets, that's brave. And I totally respect that. That's good stuff.
Yeah, I think part of the thing that figures into the whole big process is that they knew they were under a time crunch, and that they lit the underground scene such that no matter where they moved the camera, they wouldn't have to relight, other than maybe just one or two key lights that would go up very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so which made it hot as 125 degrees is what about it was running in there, and that so the hurry up was from the get go, and they knew it. And Kid said, "Can't try to fire Toby twice." However, Toby's contract was so strong that the producers couldn't do anything. The studios. So there's a lot of pressure. Jesus, India. How'd you like that? And then try to do your best work. And then they sent in a B team, and the B team was some guy who was dissing Tobe, not paying attention, not running, not kind of vying for maybe top dog kind of takeover. Seeing this kind of stupidity on other sets. I don't know how it could possibly happen, but it does. But Toby would have none of it, and put the other guy in his place. We're the A team. Everybody else shut up when we're doing our stuff. So,
definitely
terrible. I mean, that's a known rule. I mean, this was a deliberate to Toby maybe do who knows? It's stupid because it just held things up, which is just what the studio say they didn't want. Anyway, I always felt comfortable with Toby, that he always had my back, and that he was trying to make something pretty impalpable, but you could sense that it was crazy. How to make that show up on a big screen. How are you going to get that to happen? A lot of people have tried, right? Very knowledgeable, skilled people have tried, and they haven't quite made that thing happen. And they made their own thing happen, and it was sort of ordinaire, I would say.
Right.
And I think it's the way Toby puts his story together. He's wired a little bit differently than others like Dennis Hopper. He was wired differently. I don't know exactly what it was that how he accessed the world. I think kinesthetically was probably his main sensory channel. He had a very, very strong kinesthetic sensory channel. And he communicated a lot non-verbally, very strongly, like he had a really strong electrical field.
Yeah, he was very visible on that in the film, wielding the chainsaws and
Well, in other movies too, same kind of. I mean, his approach to doing this was pretty interesting. He was kind of doing comic book posturing, making comic book kinds of choices for the body positioning in his picturizations. Whereas for something more realistic, he wouldn't have struck such a what do you call a heroic pose when he was trying out the chainsaws. Yes, I think he wanted to throw this up into a more of a mythological framework from which to appreciate this.
Hey, Bill.
Johnson, I don't mean to interrupt, but I want to call you and say hello.
You know, Bill,
Hey,
you know who that is?
Hey, man. Hey,
I think we've
where
got.
are you?
I think we've got two Leatherfaces on the phone right now, actually. So, thank you guys.
Yeah. Brett Wagner, big swag out in Arizona. I just took time off. I rode my bike down here from LA. I know I hear my good friend R.A. on the line, so just big swag. You're at Big Swag in Chandler, Arizona. That's me, brother. I just want to say congratulations to Bill. I mean, 30 years and non-stop. When you have an iconic movie like, especially the franchise, you have to come after Gunner and to don that mask and do such a good job. And quite frankly, one of my favorite sequels, and especially in the franchise. I mean, part 2, 30 years, it's a big deal. And pleasure to call in and say congratulations to you.
Brett, if you would just take just a minute to introduce yourself and how you fit into the family of the Chainsaw.
Yeah, I got very lucky. I've been an actor out in Los Angeles, for 20 some odd years, and I remember when they were doing the remake in 2002. I knew they were looking for a local hire in Texas to play Leatherface, and I just thought, oh my gosh, a good friend of mine, R.A., had played Leatherface. I'd never met Bill, but I'd met Gunner before, and I was just like, this is just they're gonna hire some big doorman somewhere, or somebody's friends of a cousin who got cut from the Dallas Cowboys. And I saw at a commercial audition one time, it said TCM, and called my commercial agent. And I said, can you call that lady and see if they had cast Leatherface yet? And they said no. And got cast as it, went in, put myself on tape, and they liked it. And, Michael Bay thought I was funny, and I got a call the next day to say that I was going to be Leatherface. And first person I called was R.A., of course, to say something, and he was very happy. And then, a week into filming, I threw my back out and got replaced. But so that was my claim to fame, to be Leatherface for a week in the 2002 remake.
And
that totally, Brett, yeah, that totally blew, man. That should have never been treated like that. Yeah, but it is what it is. It happened. I got hurt and replaced, but it's still an honor. Like I said, the first person I remember calling was R.A., and he was very happy for me. It's a great deal. Look, and I can say that I was Leatherface for a week and got to don the mask for a week and got the first kill in the remake of the movie, and with the sledgehammer and the drag. And people think that it's real quick, and I know Bill can tell you, but people think, God, it's easy to be a character and an actor who goes under a mask and does stuff, but to be that physical and to bring character, bring life to the character with a mask on you is not the easiest thing in the world. And I wanted to ask Bill what he thought about that.
Well, if you're handing off to me, Brett, thank you very much. I'd be happy to respond to your question. I'd first like to say thank you for your acknowledgement. And I really just feel grateful to be associated with, like you say, the franchise. And then I could be somehow magically allowed to be in it and still hang out with it. So this is pretty far out. This is a great moment right now. And
hey boys, it's R.A. R.A. Mihailoff, number 3. I gotta say, the trail that was blazed by Gunner and you, Bill, I was so thrilled to follow, and I have to truthfully say that I couldn't think of anybody better than Brett Wagner to follow us. Well, I got lucky to follow, and then of course Dan Yeager now. Dan Yeager, got to follow us, and the new quite an honor. The new kid, as I call him.
Absolutely.
Hey, look here, boys. I'm running a little late. I gotta get out of here and do a little bit of work before the sun goes down. I love you all, and thank you for including me in this soiree.
Thank you for calling,
so much
RA.
for calling in.
Right carefully.
Bill Johnson, we love you. Yeah, we love you, Bill Johnson. Thank you for everything you've done.
Thank you very much, and thank you for being you and for loving me. I love you.
See you soon, brother.
Soon, mon frere.
On prayer, see you soon. See both you boys soon. Brett Wagner, see you soon, I hope. Bill Johnson, this is your night. A happy 30 to you, and enjoy it to the max, brother.
Thank you very much. I may not see another one of these again.
We'll all get together. We'll all get together. Don't talk like that.
Well, another 30, yeah. Let's get by the fireside.
All right, my boys, this is R.A. Mihailoff signing out.
Thank you, R.A.
Adios.
Take care.
Bill Johnson, always a pleasure. Always a pleasure, brother.
Same here, RA.
All right.
Right into the meeting.
It's all his family. One of the good guys, R.A. Mihailoff. I remember, and Bill, I was so excited to call somebody when I got the gig, and R.A. and I have we used to work quite often, work all the bars and all the clubs in L.A. because we were the big guys throwing people out of the bars and clubs, and then that chance thing that we met each other when I was very young, in like my 20s, and first started acting in Los Angeles, and to be able to play that role, even like I said, just for a week and all the big cast as it, and to be able to play that role, I was so excited to call RA and tell him, and Hey, Brett, I haven't signed off yet. You know what? How far do we go back, man? We go back. We were bouncers together in nightclubs. Oh yeah, man. We were. I was 21 years old, and I know you only got me by a couple years, and I'm almost 49 now. I got you by a lot of years. But listen. You better stand up, brother, man. When my career was up, I was kind to you. When my career was down and yours was up, you were kind to me. We're tight people, man. That's right. Well, that's the way it should be. That's how brothers work, and you're my brother forever. And like I said, we're lucky enough, and Bill has been lucky enough that we've all got to enjoy our little piece in the sun, our little thing, and be able to don the mask and hold the chainsaw. And it's been an awesome time. And like I said, and Bill will have to speak on this. Bill, you got to work with some pretty incredible actors in part two. And what was it like to get to work with that cast?
Every moment was one more stunning event after another. Just walking to the set, and he says, "There's a pile of arms, there's a pile of legs. There's some skulls. Okay, they're going to be there's somebody putting things together, and skeletons here and there, and then there's Dennis Hopper getting ready to do something with him, and scoping him out, remembering him from all those crazy films that he rocked so hard, Giants and East of Eden, and Crazy Franks and Blue Velvets, and so on and so forth. He amazingly was sort of down to earth. He liked to goof around. He was always paying attention to what the director was up to. Always ready to start, always on time, always had his lines. He was perfect. Here's something I couldn't believe. At the end of the day, sun's coming up, shot all night, in our makeup chairs, 3 in a row. Mosley, me, Dennis to my left. Yada, 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 you know how it goes. Yada, yada, blada, blada. So, Mosley's got us on a roll. He's on one of his impeccable rolls, and, we're pissing our pants, coughing, laughing thing. Probably dingy from being up too late. So out of the clear blue and all this laughing, and Dennis was kind of joking on with it, I say to him, "Hey, man, he's Captain America, and I'm Billy. It was a line from his out of, Easy Rider. And he comes back without a hesitation and completes the line out of coffee. Kind of stop laughing. I thought, oh God, he is magic. He's just wired weird. He's just wired differently than other people. And and totally intense human, very intense human being, and he had a lust for life. You could see it in everything he did. Giant lust for it. The knowledge, he dared to have the knowledge. Oh, anyway, Brett, yeah, so I'm sorry I got carried away there, man.
No, it's awesome.
I'm lucky. I'm just very, very lucky to have a quick brush with people who are, great, like Burgess Meredith. Had just a quick, kind of interaction with him, but it was intense. And
what movie was that?
It was called Full Moon Over Blue Water. And Full Moon in Gene Hackman and Burgess Meredith. And who is that young lady? That was a good friend of Gene Hackman. She was in a couple of movies with him. She was the girl in the girlfriend of Harry Hall, and in the Conversation. And also she was the girlfriend of Paul Newman in Absence of Malice. She ended up killing herself. Really great actress. Anyway, it takes place near, in this little beachside thing in a cove in a harbor near Nassau. And I'm doing a scene robbing Gene Hackman with a switchblade knife. Me and this singer, this front man for this C&W band, his name is Shorty, and it's really cool looking. But he's totally short, but he's got a lot of authority. And so we rob Gene, and scene's over. And I'm getting ready to go back to, to climb out of my dungeon. I hear, and it's good old Burgess Meredith, who's playing this cantankerous, wheelchair-ridden curmudgeon who curses, etc. And I go over to him, and he grabs onto my left elbow. Jack, and his car was waiting for him at the foot of the stairs, probably half a dozen, but they were wooden and rickety and a little slippery. And so just to have that kind of interaction with him. And I had a moment, man, and I want to say, if you ever get an opportunity to do it to someone that you're really, he's a great, great, not only actor, but figure in the history of film and television, and I guess theater as well. I wanted to hit him with a line from an introduction to an acting book that he wrote a poem for. I can't recall the title of the acting book at the moment, but it starts off, Stanislavski wrote a book, and I look, and I look, and I look. And it's a great poem. It's about acting, and it works in Shakespeare and stuff. And I would have
really had a brush with Burgess.
Yeah, just to have a brush with him, It was cool.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's my fulfillment, because I always thought in theater that I just like to be able to do a scene with some great actors once,
I got Bill, somebody else. I think, Brett, go ahead.
Well, I got very lucky and I've gotten to work, I as a kid was a big Mork and Mindy fan, and then my first movie I ever did, I got to work with Robin Williams, and I thought, just the bee's knees to be able to work with someone that you that you honestly go, wow, what an excellent deal. And then got to be directed by Tobe Hooper in a TV show called Nowhere Man, and that was another thing. I was just like, wow, really the Tobe Hooper? And he goes, yes, I am. And I was like, well, an honor. After I made a fool of myself talking a mile a minute. But I think a good friend of ours might be on the phone now. Am I right there?
I think I heard a beep.
Oh, it all depends on what you mean by friend. Certainly someone you admire greatly, but absolutely. Are we really friends? I don't know. I hope so. I guess. Cool, Brett, man, and Dan. Well,
listen, I got to run. I'm out here at a memorial service in Arizona, and I got to get back on the Harley and go back to it. But quite the honor.
Thank you,
Bill. I hope to. I know that Dan and they got some stuff cooking. Hopefully, they will be able to all be able to get in a movie together shortly, and maybe Dan will be able to shed some light on that. But an honor and 30 years, and as I said, one of my favorite movies, and you did an incredible job. And here's to hooking up with you and doing some work with you, hopefully later on this year.
Thank you, Brad. I really appreciate you calling.
Absolutely.
All right, Dan.
Take care, Brad. Good.
All right, brother. We'll see you soon.
Check it out with your hair. Drive carefully. Live long and prosper.
So for a brief moment, we had three Leatherfaces on the phone at once. Welcome, Dan.
Thanks.
What's going on?
Oh, I am. I am up in the mountains myself. Taking time out. Called the one and only, the fantastic Bill Johnson, and congratulate him on his 30th anniversary of one of the epic movies of horror history. I hear dead air. I'm sorry, I just thought I heard. I was just enjoying it so much. Thank you so much. Well, yeah. So, 30 years. What? Great one. Can you give us any perspective on what the hell that's like? Well, perspective in, I don't know, comparison to something. It certainly has made things different for me. I don't know what things would have been like. I'm sure glad the way they are. Yeah, it's got to be a strange thing that, I am known only as, Leatherface from the last Texas Chainsaw movie. It does kind of define you. I guess if you let it. It certainly is out there as a strong indicator of what your identity is, I guess. I'm cool with that. I'm thinking that something like an Elvis, become a Leatherface, Elvis face. Yeah, I don't know.
It's a small club, guys. It's really a small club.
Yeah, and it's unfortunately getting smaller rather than larger.
Yeah. We talked before you called. We did spend a couple minutes talking about Bill's relationship with Gunner over the years. Yeah.
Well, the Giant. Gunner had very interesting. Yeah. Tell us. Yeah, you spent a lot of time with Gunner, Dan. You had some kind of. You had cigar and spirituous alcohol time together. That's sort of sacred. Oh, yeah. No, many times. He was, every time he'd come to L.A. or I'd go to the East Coast, and then always at shows. We ended up doing, I don't know, half a dozen shows together. Mm-hmm. Really a delight.
And you always took him his favorite cigars too, right?
Oh yeah. His he always liked Joya de Nicaraguas. That's a tip for anybody who wants to get into the movie business. Cigars are probably your best entree into the people who make decisions in the movie business. Find out what kind of cigars they like and always have one in your pocket. One of theirs. Pocket, preferably.
My first cigar was with Dan, and he got me hooked.
How do you find out such information? Oh, well, you be nice and talk to people, Bill. You just be friendly. Oh, what kind of cigar do you like? What kind of cigar do you like, Bill? I don't know. Do you have a favorite one? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that was rhetorical. I apologize, Dan. Oh, I do. I don't like cigars. I try to like them. I like smelling them sometimes, but mostly I don't like tasting them. You were a trooper. I forget where we were. We were someplace smoking cigars, barbecue. That was a great night. It was very enjoyable evening. That was very, very nice. And Gunnar was explaining why Zeno's paradox is bogus. Pretty hilarious.
Dan, as you know, I'm working on a new website for Bill, and there's a fan section and for whatever reason, I don't know why, I haven't. That was the last thing that I'm building, and it's still not finished. But there's all these amazing pictures of you guys together that I'd never even seen before. I posted a couple of them on Facebook the other night, and I was so distracted by them that I couldn't even work on the site. I was just so like, my God, these pictures are awesome. You guys look like you were having such a good time together. And it was all out. A couple of them were all outside in a grassy field, and you guys were all taking pictures with fans. But it was you and R.A., Bill, and Gunnar.
Oh, yes. Infect, Scranton, Zombie Walk. I remember as well. Out on a field, in a tilted field. We were sitting downhill, looking uphill. That's wild and crazy.
Can't tell that from the pictures, but it looked like you guys are having a good time with the fans. It was cool.
Oh, yeah. No, that's, I always tell people, if you don't like that part of, the reality of doing horror movies, I would say, don't just go find something else to do, because it's really the best part. You've got to be kind of a horror fan yourself, I think, to really enjoy it.
Absolutely. It was a treat at Rock and Shock, just sitting with you guys and seeing all the fans coming up, and just it doesn't matter if someone is can quote every line from every movie, or they're just nervous and they can't even talk. Both of you guys are so good at just interacting with people and just making them feel normal. And I think that it's part of like what you just said, Dan, that you got to be a fan in order to really get into that and know what perspective people are coming from.
Yeah.
That was very interesting to watch. Both of you guys.
I like the Dolphins. I really can't. It was a somewhat almost famous event now when I first met Gunnar, which was on the set of Texas Chainsaw. And, there was an EPK crew there, doing behind the scenes stuff. And apparently, I think it's all on the DVD in the exit. And then that was a fanboy geek out moment for me,
meeting the man, and then you know, actually by the time I actually met Bill for the first time, I kind of calmed down. He didn't have to put up with too much. I still get a little day around him, but
we initiated the lad quite forthrightly. He's him a good one, I tell you. Took it quite well. We knew he was one of us.
So I don't know if you and Ron have touched on our future projects together.
Dan, I wish you would. Please, the floor is yours. I have not talked about it one bit, and please do.
Well, I've got what I hope is going to be a 4-picture franchise, and you know, if everything works out well, Bill will be an integral part of that character, bringing his very unique talents. But
you are
it's innate. You know, it's not. You know, I think what you bring to a character is really something cool.
Totally cool, man. Fuck yes. Totally cool. Excellent.
And we're trying to get our other buddy John Dugan involved.
John Dugan, yeah, he rocked it. Yeah, it's fun to have RA involved.
Yeah. You know,
So Dan,
it could be very, you know, quite an epic thing.
well, Dan, can you, you know, we've tickled the ass now. Can you at least give a reach around and tell us a little bit? I mean, I know and Bill knows, but just tell a little bit about. I think that would be really helpful.
Well, the 4-picture deal starts with a movie called Slaughter Farm, and
Slaughter Farm.
I usually pitch it to people by asking if they know how much their body is worth. And most people are uncomfortable with that, which is good, which is why it's the basis of a horror movie. It's about people who discovered a niche market for black market organs. They like to get them you know, off the hoof, I guess, when they're nice and fresh.
Nice and fresh.
So they prey upon healthy young hikers, and it's grisly. And there are other elements to it too that make it a good movie, I think. Some ethical conflicts of the main characters, and they face those. And then it goes on, and then we up the ante in the second one, Slaughter Ranch, where that's really more of a blood fest, a gore fest, but still with large psychological stakes. And then I figured we'd do the what I really think is the most interesting story. It's the prequel. It's the origins of all these characters, particularly Billy. And
particularly, that's going to be shot first,
very dark
and show last, because I'll never be that young again.
No, but you are the one who has to establish this character.
Yeah, so I say shoot the organ grinder first, but show it last.
Yeah.
It's wild and crazy, but it just might work.
Yeah.
Inside baseball here, folks.
I'm gonna go buy a lottery ticket and see if that works out.
That's right.
Dan, I swear to God, I buy one just about every week.
It's hard to convince somebody to give you $1 million to shoot a movie and then say, oh, we're going to put it on the shelf for 2 years.
Oh. What about sliding in slices of the movie, the first one, into the second one that we're going to show first?
Yeah,
White, blue, red.
Form following.
We could go that way. Yeah. That's an interesting perspective.
That's why you're on board, Bill, because you have very, very interesting perspective. Yeah.
Connoisseurs of the flesh on the hoof, sometimes better to eat it straight from, like drinking milk from the cow udder. So get that liver and start, like Hannibal Lecter did at the dinner table. He brought the bad guy in he didn't like, strapped to a wheelchair and with a shaved head and a sweatband, and he had already had the top of his skull sawed off. And Hannibal sliced off slices of prey and sauteed them with probably shallots and a little wine, tableside. While the guy in the wheelchair is saying, that smells really good. What is that? I think that's the connoisseurs of flesh on the hoof that perhaps has not had enough exploitation. I don't know. What do you think? Or is this just the leftovers from selling all the good organs to the people that need them? Poor rich people who need an extra kidney, a heart.
That's the thing. There's a lot of meat left over when you harvest all the organs.
Yeah, a lot of usable. I mean, cracklins, of course. Who doesn't love to go to a big football game without a big bag of them?
The secret's in the meat, right?
It really gets you wound up, makes you crazy. It's like scrumpy. They don't serve it in the pubs much. The apple cider, it gets you wasted. Scrumpy, it makes you real antagonistic. Fights break out right, left, and center. So the legend goes. I'm sure somebody will have a contradictory experience. Yeah. Isn't this too fucking consumable for public consumption?
No, it's perfect for public consumption. There's a lot
too reserved.
There's a lot of inside baseball right here. If anyone's paying attention, there's a lot of inside baseball here, which is really cool. I think this is exactly what people want to hear.
I am at an event similar to Brett's, not a memorial, but of a similar nature.
Oh my God!
They're all standing. So
Dan, you're leaving. I'm sorry to hear that, but thank you for stopping. Good. Thanks for stopping by, Dan.
Congratulations and thank you for being a wonderful friend. I look forward to our what I hope are many projects together.
Yes, in my expanded role.
You're certainly an interesting and talented man.
Thank you, and I hope that I'm employed.
We all do.
It's so employable. Thank you, Dan. Yeah, same to you, and you're a provider and a creator of the same thing. So that's really pretty great, too.
And Dan, thank you very much for calling in. I really appreciate it.
Keep up the good work, and let's talk soon.
We will. Have a good night.